Bitcoin could dominate in this month of October 2025. So let's take a look here at the Bitcoin dominance. First off, none of this financial or investment advice. Crypto is risky. You all know that. Okay, so we have the Bitcoin dominance. We just fell off, ever since the peak of June 27th. We fell off hard. And we scooped up, exactly scooped up this liquidity gap. This box right here was where there was liquidity left over from this gap back here. The Bitcoin dominance fell through that and hit the bottom of it exactly before heading back up. And now, at first I was thinking, well, maybe we'll just get rejected and range in here for a while before heading lower. But as I look at this more closely and I look at historically what happens for the Bitcoin dominance in October, we could actually be heading up here. And this is for many reasons I will explain. But one of the reasons is we have the big liquidity gap up here. As you can see over here, there's all this this huge gap of liquidity that was pretty much all sellers, no buyers. And so we might need to head back up here to close this gap. And another thing is if we take a Fibonacci line from the peak of June 27th down to this exact low here. Wait, let's see. Yeah, this low on September 13th. We get the perfect 0.786 level here, which is almost exactly where the top of this liquidity gap is. So that's about at 64% there. And so this could be a perfect retrace up to 0.786 like this, like so, before we head back down much lower. All right, so let's look into the history books on why this could be the more likely scenario. We look at the last time we had October come up here. What happened? Bitcoin dominance went up considerably, all the way to November 20th, November 21st, last year when we got a big crypto run. The altcoins did really well then. Well, actually, no. The altcoins started in early November. But yeah, it's interesting. The dominance went way up there. And the year before, here's October. Boom, Bitcoin dominance goes way up and then gets a correction right at the end of October. All right. And then back here was well into the bear market, so I'm not going to count that because I don't think we're in a bear market just yet. But then October 2021, we were still right at the tail end of the bull market. So even right at the tail end of a bull market, I would have thought that, a lot of people think that the altcoins are going to explode, but actually the Bitcoin dominance went up before it actually fell off in November. Major fall off there. All right. And then all the way back here, pay attention to this, because this is potentially similar to what we're looking at today, because if we take a Fibonacci line here to the lows there, crypto fell off. It's kind of similar like what we're doing right now is, ever since the end of, June, crypto's been falling down, and then it bottomed in September, just like it did here back in 2020. This is after the COVID crash. And what happened? Right when we got into October, we started heading up. Heading up fast. Big move up. And then it even continued in November until around November 21st again, before getting a dump there. But then it even headed up even more, heading into all the way through December into the next year. And it wasn't until January 2021 that we really started to see altcoins take over. So I'm wondering, is there a chance this could repeat where Bitcoin dominance might head up mostly until the end of the year? If this history repeats exactly, which is a big if. Nothing's guaranteed. Before getting a massive altcoin run next year. And, in 2021, we all remember all the OGs that were there back then. It was a massive altcoin run that went all the way into May of the next year. So really, really interesting pattern here. All right. And then even, let's see, September 2019. Well, that was not much of a bull market, but there is sometimes where it does head down in October. That was 2019. Wasn't a lot going on back then in terms of a massive bull run. But really, it wasn't until January of 2021 that we started to see massive euphoria enter the markets. Massive. And what happened when that euphoria came in was, let's see if I can load this here, is the Coinbase app ranking went through the roof. All right. And it's not loading. Okay, let's see. But the Coinbase app got ranked in the top 10. Actually, we'll have to go all the way back. That was, let's see, when did it start? So, yeah, there's December. And then when the altcoin started, let's see, it got ranked in the top 50 and almost the top 10. So it got in the top 12. But then it stayed in the top 200 for all. Oh, wow. It got ranked number 2 in May. So when it gets like the top 5, that means top 10 or top 5. I mean, I might even just say top 5 or top 10. If it stays in the top 10 for a while, that's like usually the end of the bull market. And it got ranked number 1 on May 12th. And that was really almost exactly the end of the bull market for most of the altcoins there. But right now, if we see where we're at right now, we're still heading, we're way down here. We're in the, not even in the top 200. All right, we're 286 right now. So not a lot of euphoria in the markets right now. Let's look at Bitcoin. What does Bitcoin typically do in October? Well, we saw historically that the Bitcoin dominance goes up. So right here, we got a little correction in 2024 before a big move up. And then November it was even stronger. And then back in 2023, same thing. We had a little correction before a really big move up. Really strong October. I'm not going to count the bear market, as that's typically doesn't do as well. Then this was the end of the bull market, 2021. We just went through the roof. We just went skyrocketing. And there's actually a small chance that we could be in a massive move like this, as we are doing pretty well so far. We started October right, let's see, right here. And we're already getting a big spike up. So we'll see if that can continue, or if we get a correction down to like maybe 115 or something. That would be a healthy correction. I wouldn't be too worried about it. But then all the way back to 2020. And what happened with Bitcoin? We got a nice move up here. Nice move. Not super explosive, but that was actually, that it broke into a new all-time high. So that was absolutely huge for Bitcoin back then. So October is a really, really, really good month for Bitcoin, and not as much for the altcoins. If we look at the total too, all the coins excluding Bitcoin, we get more of like kind of sideways action. Nothing too exciting there. All the coins excluding Bitcoin, we get sideways action before heading up. So there is still hope for a little bit. It actually can be at the start of a very, very big run for the altcoins, usually heading into November. So could this be, I mean, we've actually already gotten a nice run since June for the altcoins. So could there be more in the tank? We are on the brink with the altcoins, as they are still attempting to break out into a new all-time high and actually confirm the new all-time high. So far it's been getting rejected. So let's look back at 2021. We did get a big move up and it continued. That was the blow off top. And Ethereum and Solana were doing incredibly well. But back in 2020, it was just like a little stair step upwards. And at that point, the altcoins still had not made a new all-time high, not even close. All right, so the altcoins don't do as well. It's pretty clear with the historic data there. All right, the proof is in the pudding. Let's take a look at this really, really interesting chart here. Okay, this is a Bitcoin cycles indicator that I got from one of my colleagues. Okay, so we're going to focus on this one first. Ignore the other one below. Let's see, let's cover that up. And let me close the other one. Whatever, okay. So keep an eye on this chart. So look at this pink line, and look at how closely the Bitcoin chart follows this. Now, it's not exactly, you know, when this pink line went way down in, what was it, like February, March, April, Bitcoin didn't go exactly that low, right? The Bitcoin didn't go down to 48,000. It went to closer to like 76,000. So it shows a general trend, but look how closely it followed. Like it shows whether we're going down or up. So it really peaked at the Bitcoin peak exactly there. Right there, we had that Bitcoin peak. And then it's gone on a downtrend, and Bitcoin's been going down a bit. But take a look at this. Then it goes up. It goes up in October. And it starts to go potentially back down in November, which is interesting. But it only goes down a little bit and then a bit more. So it's interesting that November it goes actually down more before heading back up. And arguably that's like December is heading back up into January of next year. So really, really, really interesting. But overall, October is up. And so that looks really bullish for Bitcoin. Whereas this other chart for Ethereum, this one's Ethereum here. Ethereum shows a lot more weakness, where it goes down a little bit and then a slight uptick. So it's like a slight uptick. I believe that's probably October. Then it goes potentially down a little bit, November. So slight uptick for Ethereum. And then I could actually show this one. Hold on one moment here. Solana is a bit slower. And this is really surprising to me, is that the Solana one, it's just down for October, which was not what I was expecting. And a possible uptick in November, which actually lines up pretty well with the astrology. Anyways, thought those were really, really interesting charts. Overall, you know, Bitcoin historically looks really good for October. The Bitcoin dominance looks extremely good for October. If we do anything like we did all the way back in 2020, the Bitcoin dominance could go way up. But that is just the beginning of a massive, massive, massive altcoin bull run that brings extreme euphoria, extreme greed into the markets. And if anyone was there in 2021, that was an extremely, extremely exciting time. We are certainly not in those times. There is not a lot of people signing up for Coinbase. There is some greed in the market, at least for Bitcoin. I don't know about the altcoins. But overall, I wanted to come up with this very important video that things are probably going to do best for Bitcoin in October. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace out. And definitely subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks so much.